Welcome back. It is 1601. In the last one, we had Marie enact a plan to try to get rid of Luke and William, which did not work. She's also pregnant, and we do not know who the father is currently. We had Isabella become a child, and Caitlin become an infant. We're going to have the other baby today. For our rolls, we have Caitlin becoming a toddler. So let's roll for her. No 7, 14, or 19. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, Caitlin just died. Um, Elias de Mohun, that was our baby with Marie from before we were actually together. So no 2, 4, or 6. He survived. Wymond Hobart can't get a 7 or a 13. That was close. Will he get married? No 1 through 5. He will. How many kids? No 10. 8 kids. Wymond. The Hobart kids are always having all the babies. Wymond Hobart. What did I say? Shoot, I already forget. It was like a 7, right? Maybe it was an 8. It was an 8. Okay. We also have 2 other pregnant Sims at the time. And then Watira is going to do her end of life roll. So how many more years will she survive for? 10. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Watira Hobart will die this year. Okay. And then for townies, 1601. Arun is becoming an elder, which means he has a D20 number of years left to live. Do we roll for him also? 9? Oops, wrong thing. 9 plus 1601. Okay. Yeah, he's the only birthday. Okay. So that is that. Let's hop into the game. So here we are with our family. We have Luke just hanging out with the kids and stuff. I love Isabella. She's so pretty. I'm really excited that she, looks like her mom and she's cute and she's growing up well despite her stepmother. But yeah, so Luke kind of, makes sure he has time to spend with just her as well. He spends time with all the kids, but I think that he does realize that Isabella needs a little extra attention considering her situation, not being, not having the same mother as the other kids, because while Luke treats the boys like they're his, Marie doesn't necessarily reciprocate that. And you can see that she just got a difficult dynamic with William. So she's not really the best mom. She kind of reminds me of Damaris a little bit, actually. But I guess that's just what happens. And then we are going to have some cake, spend time with the kids. Like I said, Luke is a good father, and he's been doing really well. Like, I feel like when we talk about his faults regarding, working too much and all that stuff, like, he has definitely scaled back on that, and he has definitely been taking being a father and a husband very seriously lately. Whether or not, he is constantly in arguments with his spouse still is a different point. Luckily, today restaurants are working for us, which is really exciting because, they never do for me. But we are very excited to be at a restaurant today. So she is actually going to come and meet with Aeneas, and the reason for that is because last year they enacted their plan and she was trying to get rid of specifically William and Luke so that she could, make her sons title holders. And so she's mad because she is basically accusing Aeneas of, Aeneas's ex-wife did die that day, Charlotte. So I think that she probably is thinking, oh, you prioritized getting rid of your ex-wife instead of the plan that we were working on together. And you should have prioritized getting rid of William because we could have, my son could be a duke right now. And so Aeneas is like, well, you're supposed to help too. You weren't doing what you were supposed to be doing. And she's like, I killed Yasmina. But they just start arguing about it a little bit. And he basically says, we'll handle it. Like, it's not too late. Neither of them has any other sons. It's not a problem. And you should watch out because I don't like the way you're talking to me. And, who even knows who the father of your baby is? And so because of that, like, you might want to think twice before you come in here and yell at me. And Marie is so mad about that. She's like, ugh, like, how dare you, like, how dare you threaten me when I'm supposed to be the one helping you out here? Like, she definitely treats him like he's like a henchman, but he wants to be an equal, like, he's like, we're in this together. We're planning this together so that we can get, stuff. And you, like, you're just because you're going to get the power in the situation doesn't mean that he doesn't have some leverage too. So that's what's going on there. The kids are sad always, because people keep dying. But anyway, we are going to have everyone go to bed. I was doing their needs a little bit today, a little dipping my toes into actually taking care of their needs for once, which I don't usually do. But everyone's going to go to bed, and we are having a baby. So a baby was born, and it is to Humphrey and his wife. Her name is now Cicely Dubois. She survived. And then baby Hobart, who Richard III's child, who Richard passed away last year in the incident, very sad. But his wife was pregnant with a son, and he was born, and she didn't feel comfortable naming him Richard again because she, it just made her very sad inside because she misses her husband and she feels like she didn't really get to have a life with him or anything. So she's going to name the baby Frederick. So Frederick Hobart and Cicely Dubois were just born, and they both survived, and they're both getting added to the tree and everything. So everything is good. And we are going to add everybody to the tree. Here we go. And then we are going to try and work on not doing their needs anymore because I can't do it. So, okay. Meanwhile, everyone is, doing their thing, trying to just be around the house, take care of the kids, having an easy night, just enjoying themselves, even though Marie is uncomfortable. She's entering her third trimester of her pregnancy, and today is also the day that Caitlin ages up and passes away, unfortunately. So we are going to bake the birthday cake, and we are going to just age her up. She's only an infant, so she wouldn't have like a crazy big party. Also, she's dying today, so we are going to age her up. For some reason, death isn't really working very well in my game. Like, Grim just kind of wanders around, and the body just lays on the floor. You saw that with Yasmina last time, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. I was going to try and plead for her, but Grim never gave around, and also she just was laying there, and it was kind of creepy. So I was like, okay, well, never mind then. I'm not super attached to Caitlin. Sorry, Caitlin, but, although I was a little worried because I was thinking to myself, okay, so we have Isabella, and we have whoever the other daughter's name is. Oh, Athelina. And technically we have Elias as an illegitimate child. So, we don't have that many Sims as heirs, although we do know that Marie is pregnant. But again, we don't know if he's the father of that baby. We're going to find out when the baby is born. Very shortly, the baby will be born. So we'll find out right now what gender the baby is, if it survives, and who the father is. So we are going to go into labor. Luke is working on his archaeology stuff. She comes in here, and she goes to have the baby. So let's do that. And then it is a boy, and he survives. So this is our heir, or it will be. It might be. We'll see. We're going to name him Noah. So Noah Larkin is the baby, and now we just have to find out who the father is. So let's go into the family tree, and we'll check it out. And actually, it's Aeneas. So Noah is not our heir, although he could become the next Earl, because Luke obviously doesn't know that it's not his child yet. Who knows? Maybe it'll come out, maybe it won't. But Noah is not our baby. So we still only have our 2 daughters and our one affair boy that we might consider if we lose our 2 daughters. So we're in a little bit of a pickle here, but yeah, so the baby is not ours. So that is going to be really interesting. Meanwhile, Marie is feeling good about the situation with Luke right now because she just had a son. She's feeling good because she's like, okay, well, regardless of if I can make Elias the heir or not, like I have Noah now, and he's going to be the heir. So I don't really have to worry about Luke, but she does have to worry about William because William is in the market for a new wife. And so she is calling him over to have a conversation with him, and they're going to chat. And she's going to be like, look, William, things can happen. Things can happen any day. We saw that with the queen is still investigating the issue where, a bunch of people died, and it's really scary, isn't it? But you don't have any sons. She goes, you don't have any legitimate heirs. She's like, except for, of course, our son. And he's like, Marie, you and I both know that you weren't faithful to me. And she's like, I was at the beginning. And she's like, Luke can attest that we never woohooed before, and before Elias. So who knows? And basically, William's like, Marie, I'm not going to fall for your schemes. Like, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to make William my heir. And she's like, well, maybe you should make him your heir temporarily, just in case something happens to you. You really don't want your line to die out. So he kind of like calls over William, and like Luke comes over because William obviously sees Luke as a father figure at this point. So they come over and they all stand together, and he kind of is looking at William, and he notices like William doesn't really have the same skin tone as either Luke or Marie. He's definitely closer to William, the older William. So he's like looking at him, and he's like, I guess he could be mine. And then there's a fire, and William catches on fire. Luke is having PTSD flashbacks right now, but he jumps into action and he puts out the fire that's on William. He saves William's life because he is like, obviously he considers William like one of his children. He doesn't treat them differently. He cares about all of them. But he's just like was so scared for a moment there because he thought back to losing his sisters, losing his father, and he's going to give William a big hug and be like so glad that he's okay. So obviously that was very triggering for Luke. But regardless, the older William, when he was here, did take a look and can kind of believe that William is his son. So he's like, fine, I will make William temporarily my heir until I get a new wife and a new son. I'll allow that. But I am getting a new wife and a new son. And so Marie's like, okay, well, I can get rid of you before that. But anyway, and we just saw Noah age up. And oh my gosh, I'm looking at Noah and I'm like, Luke, look at that baby. That is not your kid. He does not look, he looks like Aeneas. Like his head shape is, that kid is not yours, Luke. You can tell right away when you look at him. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so the William situation is kind of solved for now. She does have to do something before he has another son, and the Luke situation is handled because they have Noah. Of course, Marie's probably noticing that Noah doesn't quite look that much like Luke, so she's probably like, we might need to deal with that. But anyway, she is going to be mean to Isabella. Again, Isabella and her don't have a good relationship. She is not kind to Isabella, and, because obviously she hates Sophronia. They're enemies. She really doesn't like her, and she's not a good stepmother to Isabella, and Isabella's really sad, and so she kind of runs away. She skips school, and she goes over her mom's house instead, because she doesn't want to go to school when she's feeling like this. So she is going to go into her mother's house and come and see her. And Sophronia is going to be like, Isabella, like, why did you skip school? What's going on here? And Isabella tells her mom, like, Marie was being mean to me, and I'm really sad, and I didn't want to go to school. And Sophronia is like, that bee, like, so Sophronia is not happy about the situation. She's like, don't worry, like, I'll take care of it. I'm not going to let her treat you poorly. So Isabella is her only child, and Sophronia has not remarried or tried to remarry. She could try to, but I think that she is doing her best to not get pushed out of her daughter's life. She still wants to keep in contact with her daughter. She still wants to be a part of her life. And she knows that if she moves away to get married and have more kids, it's going to be even harder. And she knows that Isabella is not safe with Marie. So she definitely is kind of putting her daughter first in that way, where she's like, even though she can't be around all the time, she's not going to give up what little control over the situation that she does have, because she knows that her daughter needs her. So she is going to walk Isabella back home, because they're neighbors. It's fine. So she's going to bring Isabella back home and basically come and talk to Luke about the situation. So Isabella's here with her mom, and Luke's like, what's going on? Like, he's kind of gets wary when Sophronia is in his house because he thinks she's a thief. But she basically, sits with him and Isabella, and, she says to Isabella, like, why don't you tell your dad what you told me? And, she's trying to be very diplomatic with it, but Isabella tells him that Marie is mean to her. And then Sophronia kind of takes over and is like, look, if she can't treat my daughter this way. Like, this is not good for Isabella. If it needs to be that way, then she can move in with me. She doesn't need to live with you and Marie if she's going to be treated this way. And Luke's like, no. Like, she's my daughter. I'm not going to, she's going to live with me. Like, everything is fine. We spend a lot of time together. So he kind of brings Marie over and is like, Marie, why are you doing this? And it causes our relationship to become strained. He's mad at her. He's like kind of yelling at her. They're arguing about parenting. Marie's like, well, she's not my kid. Why do I have to treat her the same as all the other kids? And he's like, I treat your kids the same as all the other kids. Like, what do you mean? And so they kind of get into it a little bit. And Marie's really annoyed because she's like, I shouldn't have to do this. Like, you should just send her to live with her mom. And Luke is like, no way, not going to happen. So, they do argue about that a little bit, and he's like, look, Marie, I don't want to hear that you're causing problems with Isabella again. I don't want to hear it. So regardless, we're then going to have the birthday party for little Elias, who is aging up into a child, which is really exciting. So we're going to have 3 children in the house, and he is cheerful, apparently, so that's good. And here he is. He's so cute. He's a cutie pie. And they are all going to have some cake, and everyone was invited over, including Sophronia, because I think that Luke really appreciates that Sophronia is, keeping him in the loop and not trying to handle things on her own, and like very much being a good co-parent. So I think he's like, okay, well. And then I'm like, who is woohooing in the shower? You guys. The game doesn't know that they're father and son. Okay, the game doesn't know. Oh, it's so gross. Hugh is technically our son. He's ours. He's in our family. He's not Arun's son, and the game knows that he's not Arun's son, and he's not even Arun's stepson anymore. But he grew up thinking Arun was his father. It's gross. Anyway, that's gross. Moving on. Birthdays this year. We have Caitlin Larkin passing away, Elias de Mohun becoming a child, Wyman Hobart becoming a teenager, and for babies that were born and became infants, we have Cecily Dubois, anyway, Frederick Hobart and Noah Larkin. So those are our birthdays. That's our situation. Next year is a scary year for us. Next year, I'm so nervous, you guys. I'm so nervous. We have Luke, Sophronia, and Marie aging up next year. I am scared. I'm so scared but I think it's a good opportunity. If Luke does end up dying, we can spin that with the Marie story. Like, we can make it work. But I'm like, oh my gosh. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm a little nervous, but we will see. Will our patriarch survive next year? We will find out. So I hope you guys are excited, and I'll catch you in the next one.